Hey guys, and welcome back to CV Fire TV. This week, amongst many things, one of the things that the Lord was talking to me about was there has been an absence of faith and belief and trust in Him. He was saying to me, Aiden, there is no actual belief in me. There's no actual faith in me. There is no actual belief in me and belief in what I can do and trust in what I can do and the faith that people once had in me for signs and wonders and miracles and prophecies. People do not actually believe anymore. They don't actually trust me anymore. They don't actually have faith in me anymore. Faith in me that I will move amongst them. Faith that I will heal people. Faith that I can still speak to people and penetrate all the barriers that they have up and get to their heart and deal with the root issue. There is no actual belief that that happens, or there is no actual belief that they could do it. That certain individuals can do it. There is no belief. And what the Lord was saying to me was that nowadays what people are doing is people are operating in non-belief, in no faith, in no trust. And they're preaching and they're teaching and they're doing all these things, but they're speaking without any faith. They speak without applying what they have studied to their life. And so what they're doing and what's happening is that people are studying and they study all around the scripture, and they probably do study the scripture, but they just skim through the scripture and get the relevant verses. And then they apply it into their preaching, into their teaching, and then they go and speak to people, and there is no belief, there is no faith, there is no trust that I will turn up and change the atmosphere and change people's hearts and change people's minds and come and heal. And so because we do not believe when we speak and when we teach that things can be done and miracles and wonders can be done, we cannot then demonstrate God. We cannot then demonstrate who He is and demonstrate His power. So when it comes to prophesying, many people will not prophesy because they don't believe. Many people cannot demonstrate God through healing and miracles, signs and wonders. People cannot speak the heart of God to people to penetrate them because they don't actually believe. And one of the things that was interesting that the Lord said to me is that the people who are speaking with non-belief and no trust and no faith in me, the people that they're speaking to actually understand and know that there is no belief there. There is no understanding there. There is no faith, there is no trust behind what they say. So they don't know if what they're saying is real or if it's fake. But the people listening will know straight away that the person speaking is not living the life that they are talking about. The people know that they haven't spent time with God. It's funny because he reminded me of when I was in school, my science teacher, we used to talk about smoking. And she used to say, yes, smoking is disgusting. Smoking, it turns your insides black. It damages your insides. It damages your body. It causes your breath to stink. It can affect you in multiple bad ways. But then I realised that I used to catch her smoking, and then her breath used to stink when she came in. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm showing you that just because you teach it doesn't mean that you live it. Just because you teach it doesn't mean that you believe it. Just because you preach it doesn't mean that you believe it. And the Lord is saying that in this day, in this time, in this season, that people are speaking, are preaching and are teaching about God, but don't actually believe in God. Don't actually believe that God can turn things around in their life because of their situation, because of their current situation or the situations that they have been in before. They don't believe that God can show up and turn things over in a minute, in a second, in a heartbeat. They don't believe that God is still fighting for them. They don't believe because they're not doing what everyone else is doing. But the Lord says that I haven't called you in this time to do what everyone else is doing. I've called you in this time to study. I've called you in this time to spend time with me. I've called you in this time to gain more knowledge in me. To gain more knowledge in me. To believe in me again. To have faith in me again. To have trust in me. That I want to prophesy to you. I want to speak to you about my heart. So when we read the Bible, we realize that the Bible actually speaks to us. It speaks to our situations. It speaks to our lives. Because it's the heart of God. It's the mind of God. It's God communicating with us. And the Lord is saying that it's time for people to go back to studying me, to spending time with me, to stop going out there and preaching and teaching things that they do not actually believe just because it looks cool or you get recognition from it or some sort of glory. But the Lord wants us to spend time with him in the cave so we can go out and believe what we are preaching and believe what we are teaching and influence lives instead of influencing lives to believe God but don't actually trust God, or just to know about God but to not actually believe in God, to not have faith in God. So the Lord is calling us to go back to him, to believe in him, to trust in him, to have faith in him, faith that he will speak through you and touch someone else's life. Because you can always tell the difference from someone who believes in God and someone who doesn't believe in God. So I hope this video has helped you. I hope this video has shed light on some things that's happening in this time, in this season. And remember, the Lord is calling us to spend time with him. The Lord is calling us to go back to his heart, to find out what's on his heart and to believe what he says, to trust what he says, to implement what he says into our own lives first. We are the first partakers before we go and spread the word. When God gives us the word, it's for us at first. And then we can go out and preach and teach the word. We can go out and demonstrate God. The Lord says many of us struggle to demonstrate it. Many of us struggle to invite God, to bring God where we are because we don't actually believe. So all we do is we scream and we shout and it's just noise. It's just noise. We're not actually bringing God. But when you really believe and when you really have faith and you have trust in God, wherever you go, he is always with you. So when you speak to people, knowing that God is with you always, and he's with you in that moment, you can go and speak to people. You can go and tell them what is on God's heart because God has a word for everybody. There is a word for everybody. God has something to say about everybody. He's always talking about somebody. He wants someone to know that he loves them, that he sees them. So he wants us to believe in him and to trust in him that he will use us, that he can still use us as empty vessels to go and speak to someone else. So I hope this video has helped you and we'll see you next week on CV Fire TV.